This video is sponsored by Skillshare. What's up guys and dzień dobry everyone! Welcome back to my channel. I'm Nick. I'm a classical pianist. Today is going to be my last video about Chopin Op.10 No.1, for now at least. I've already done a couple of videos about this. I was talking about the technique, about how I'm practicing this. If you missed this, you'll find it up here. Now after we talked about all this stuff, in this video we'll finally get to the real shit. Interpreting the piece. If you thought that interpreting pieces is easy, you just have to listen to your instinct, to your stomach, to other recordings and imitate them, well, I'm sorry. I have to tell you, this is by far not enough. Every time we are learning a new piece, the goal is to own the piece, to make it ours. And therefore we have to analyze the piece, and out of this analysis we want to get our own ideas for interpretation. Which is like, you know, the most interesting part of all the things that we are doing at the instrument. Now, of course, your instinct is still very important. And also listening to other interpretations is important. It can give you ideas and it can give you new impulses after, you know, you studied a piece for a longer time. However, I would always recommend to first find your own interpretation before you get like all these influences by others. So in this video, we are going to do a short musical analysis of the piece, and then I'll show you different possibilities of how to interpret the things that we just analyzed before. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell, because I can see that only 30% of the people who are watching my videos are actually subscribed to my channel, so go and hit the subscribe button now. And also, creating these videos, especially this type of video, is taking a lot of time and effort. So if you would like to see more videos like this in the future, please consider supporting me on Patreon. You will find the link in the description box. Now let's get started. Now, before we go into, you know, the detailed analysis of harmony, melody, rhythm, and stuff like this, all these parameters that we have to analyze, I would like to first see the big background. We always have to also put the pieces in historical context. For example, in this case, who had a big influence on Frédéric Chopin? Chopin was a huge fan of Johann Sebastian Bach, and yes, he's called Bach. Not Bach. He got a lot of inspiration through Bach's music, especially through his Wohltemperiertes Klavier, so this big collection of preludes and fugues that are going through all the different keys. Chopin himself, he studied these preludes and fugues very, very intensively, and he would also recommend this for his students and to anyone who wants to learn piano. And Chopin also composed 24 preludes, which are, you know, the most obvious homage to Johann Sebastian Bach, but also the etudes he composed, which were, by the way, also 24 until, you know, the 3 later ones, they don't really count into this collection. So 24, and the very first one, Op.10 No.1, is written in C major, just like Johann Sebastian Bach is starting his very first Preludium und Fuge.
Coincidence? I think not!
And also, Bach considered his Wohltemperiertes Klavier as kind of a study. Maybe not in the same way. I mean, the etudes are more going into this technical thing. However, they're still also a musical study. So let's keep this link to Bach in our head while we are analyzing the rest. Let's start with the analysis of different parameters. In this video, I won't go through all the parameters, but normally when I'm analyzing pieces, I would go through at least the harmony, the melody, the dynamics, the rhythm, articulation, and the color of the piece. These are like the standard parameters that you should always analyze and consider in your interpretation. However, as this video is not giving me enough space, I will just reduce it on the main things that I found here. So let's start with the harmony. This piece is written in C major. C major is nothing special, you might think. However, when we play pieces in C major, it always gives us this big feeling. It's like a bright day, the sun is shining, it's majestic. This is what C major is very, very often expressing. As we said before, C major is also a link to Johann Sebastian Bach, which makes it even bigger. Now, during the first bars, there's nothing really happening. It's like a normal cadenza. So Chopin is like really settling this home key, let's say. In measure 17, he's changing into A minor. Then he continues and modulates through different keys. I won't go into detail here. And basically he ends in E major. followed by falling fifth, adding like a little bit of salt and pepper here and there. I won't go into the details here and how he is transforming it, but the end result is A major. And he makes us feel like we're back in C major, which is not true. We are in A major. So as an interpretation, we can think, well, something is changing in this A minor part. Things are getting a little bit weird and we are basically searching for the way back home. In A major, we think that we are back home or we found a new home. However, it's not stopping there. He's continuing with falling fifth and it's like dropping more and more and more. And also you can hear some dissonances here and there, which is like basically creating like all these dark thoughts. And this circle that we're turning in is going faster too. If you look at the harmonical rhythm here, before, like for example, at the very beginning, we have 2 measures of C major, and then things are changing like in steps of 1 full measure. And now here Chopin is speeding up and the harmonical rhythm is going in half measures. And after all these falling fifth, it's like he's fighting back to light. He's adding all these sharp notes here, which are basically indicating that it's going to be lighter, like the color is getting lighter. And then back to C major. And we are starting all over again. There we have the reprise. So in this whole middle part, we are basically searching all the time for the new key or the new home. We kind of find something in this A major part, but it's not the real thing. It doesn't really make us feel like we are at home, and we're continue searching and searching and searching. We're getting a lot of dark thoughts. And at the end, we manage to come out of all these dark thoughts and go back to the home key. This part is one of the most interesting parts where I would like to talk a little bit more about it. What you normally hear is that this climax is like, it's getting huge. There's a lot of forte and a fortissimo even, and when you come back into the reprise, everything is like shining as it was in the beginning or even bigger. At least this is the interpretation that you can hear like most of the times. However, I think there are reasons to say we can do it differently here. And I'll explain this with the dynamics. Now, if we take a look of the dynamics in this piece, we can see that everything is written in forte. So we start in the beginning with forte. We have some diminuendo, crescendo in the middle. Then we have a forte again when it comes to the fake home in A major. So it makes us really feel like we are home, which is not true. The third time when it's written forte is directly before we go to the reprise, but not on the reprise. So it's like a few measures before. We have this big climax coming up, this crescendo, and this crescendo ends in a forte. Forte, not fortissimo, by the way. As you might know, I'm also studying all the other etudes right now, so I have to put the etudes in relation to each other. Now, if I take a look at the other etudes that are coming after this first etude, for example, in number 3, there is a fortissimo. In number 4, there is a FFF, I don't even know how to call it, fortissimo, I don't know. What is this called actually? I don't know. In German we just say dreifach forte, 3-time forte. Is there actually a word for this? Put it in the comments if you know this. So I have to put this first etude in relation to the third, the fourth, and everything that is coming after. When I compare this, forte is just a forte. It is not more than this. I think for the interpretation of this piece, we should just not, push too much and like making it forced. I think it should be a warm, big sound, which is already created very easily. You don't have to, push into the keys so heavily. And also, when we see this part, when it comes back to C major, the reprise, it is not written forte on the reprise. It is written before, and then there is actually written a diminuendo. There is not really written on which, you know, dynamical level we should end. Chopin is giving us a lot of freedom, of interpretational freedom. Maybe he wanted it to stay in forte, maybe he wanted it to go much, much deeper. Who knows? I think we have different interpretation possibilities here. The mainstream interpretation is to keep it in forte or even louder than forte, which I think is maybe not exactly what is written there. The other direction would be to get this big climax and then slide into mezzo forte, mezzo piano maybe even. Something that is more calm, more in our heart, like inside and not too much pushed outside. So I think these two possibilities of interpretation are very, very different. I would like to show you how it would sound like with these two different interpretations. Another reason why I think that we should play the reprise differently from the beginning, also in the dynamics, is that we went through a lot of stuff in the middle part of this piece. Like, we had a lot of changes in harmonies, it was a lot of insecurity there, we were turning around all the time, and finally we find Bach. And during this time our point of view is changing. There's time that is passing by and it is changing us as person. We are seeing things differently afterwards. So I would also like to have a different color in the reprise than we had before in the beginning of the piece. What would you prefer? Tell me in the comments down below, and also why do you prefer this? This video is brought to you by Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning platform where you'll find thousands and thousands of great classes about like a lot of different topics, from music theory to cooking, painting, photography, and also video editing. As I'm editing all my videos on my own, I was searching for nice classes so I can improve my skills here and create better videos for you. Right now I'm following a class by Jordi Vandeput. I don't know if this is correctly pronounced, but I'm sorry. In this class, Jordi is going through advanced tips and tricks for video editing in 34 lessons, and I'm already excited to try to integrate it in my future videos. Skillshare has a great offer here for you. The first thousands of my subscribers who click on the link in the description box will get 1 month free trial on Skillshare. Don't waste any time, go and explore Skillshare on your own. I hope this video gave you new ideas and new perspectives of listening to this piece. It's a wonderful study, and of course this analysis was very small. As I said before, I didn't go into all the different parameters. I just don't have enough time for it. You know, creating these videos takes a lot of time and effort, and if you would like to see more of this in the future, I would be very happy if you support me on Patreon. You'll find the link in the description box. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell. We'll see us in the next videos. Bye.